We are so glad you could join us tonight. Here's a taste of what we prepared for you.
Tonight, a botched jab and another baby loses a limb.
Hapo kumpeleka ndio daktari walienda wakatuambia hii mguu imeshaharibika, hakuna venye inaweza reverse.
Kihara Hospital's victims of vaccinations of devastation grows.
And how 2 women are lucky to be alive after a free ride left 2 others dead.
Plus, Moi University student Ivy Wangeshi's murder suspect's day in court.
Also tonight, from abducted Cuban doctors to police security for MPs.
If you have to provide a bodyguard to every parastatal or CEO, every parastatal or chairman, my friend, who will then look after Kenya?
Interior CS Fred Matiang'i in an exclusive interview only on NTV.
NTV Tonight with Dennis Okari and Olive Burrows.
Very good evening and thank you for joining us in this news broadcast. Our sign language presenter tonight is Flora Atieno. Tonight, we shine the spotlight once again on the Kihara Sub-County Hospital in Kiambu County after yet another family came forward claiming that their baby's limb had to be amputated after he too developed post-vaccination complications.
The family claims their 6-month-old baby Ambrose's leg started to swell after receiving the BCG vaccine in February this year. The hospital is yet to respond to negligence claims made by yet another family whose 2-month-old baby lost his arm and leg after a BCG vaccine. Eunice Omolo will report on that story up next. But do you remember the story of the 2-month-old baby?
You know, coming just, it's barely a week, right, after that incident happened, and many people are speaking about it and calling for the health ministry to just look at these public hospitals and some of these dispensaries and looking at how babies are actually being given these vaccinations. And it raised a debate on the baby-friendly vaccines and the public ones, and there was a whole story around it. But the story is now ready. Let's just look at the story.
6-month-old baby Ambrose lies on the couch at their home in Gashie and mindful of his surroundings. He lost his right leg after routine BCG vaccination turned awfully wrong for him. His leg started swelling, the doctors couldn't save it. The painful episode is now past him, but for the parents Kennedy and Damaris Mumo, the pain of seeing their helpless child will never really go away.
Nilipata mtoto akiwa mzima kabisa. Kaka after 6 days ndio huyo mtoto akaribika mguu. Sasa ikasemekana lazima atolewe hiyo mguu, iwezikaa hivyo.
Walimdunga shindano za mapaja na wakamweka kwa oxygen. Wakasema akona shida ya kupumua. So ni kama akona pneumonia. So kwa hiyo harakati ya kupima ndio ni kama hatujui nini ilifanyika, lakini kulingana na vile tuliambiwa shindano iliguza mfupa na ika-affect mfupa yake ya mguu moja.
Ambrose was born healthy in November. Now he bears the scars of a botched vaccination administered at the Kihara Sub-County Hospital in Kikuyu. Their story, which they told to police at the Karuri police station in Kiambu in a recorded statement, retraces familiar lines. Like looking into a cruel mirror, the Mumo's family bumped into that of Leah and Peter Githongo, who had also gone there to record their complaints against the hospital. Last week, Githongo's family gave their harrowing account of how their 2-month-old baby lost his arm and leg after receiving his BCG jab right after he was born in February. The two families want the hospital to take responsibility for the vaccines of devastation that have drained them financially and emotionally.
Kama ni expenses, siku hizi sikuwagi job. Kazi yangu ni ya kukaa na wao, take care of them. Kama li rent, tujalipa rent for 3 months.
We are calling for the immediate arrests of the medical practitioners who injected this wrong injection, who gave them wrong medication.
The family now has to adjust to new realities, having to bring up physically challenged children who are left even more vulnerable by a vaccine meant to boost their immunity.
Hata mtu akiniuliza nitamwambia nini? Mtoto mwenyewe wakati atauliza mkono na mguu kwenye ilienda, tutamwambia ilienda wapi?
Eunice Omolo, NTV.
Police in Nyaribo village, Nyeri County, have launched a manhunt for a suspect who allegedly stabbed his 24-year-old wife to death.
The victim, Mary Wangoi, a mother of 2, was living in a rental house at Nyaribo shopping center with a lady friend after leaving her matrimonial home in Tetu. The man is said to have tracked her down and stabbed her Police say the incident took place at 1 o'clock this morning. It is not clear what triggered the suspect to act with such rage, but police alluded to a relationship strife.
The court in Kilifi has granted police 8 more days to conclude investigations into a case where a man stabbed a Pwani University female student yesterday.
Kilifi Senior Principal Magistrate Justice Kituku allowed police to detain the suspect, identified as Nicholas Koech, after the officers pleaded for more time to have the suspect undergo a mental exam to determine if he is fit to stand trial.
Police also want a statement from the victim, who is admitted at the Kilifi County Referral Hospital. Nomi Chepkemoi, who is studying public health at Pwani University, is said to have been stabbed several times by her boyfriend.
The suspect told the court he attacked her after she denied him access to their 2-year-old daughter. Naftali Kinothia, the man accused of killing Moi University student Ivy Wangeshi, will remain in custody for 14 more days to allow police more time to firm up their case against him.
The court directed that he undergoes a medical exam to determine if he is fit to stand trial.
On his first day in court, Naftali Kinothia sat pensively, his eyes often darting to avoid the glare of cameras and the curious public, keeping up with the details of a most gripping yet vicious murder. He was all covered up in a dark jacket and a head-hanging hat, but he could barely hide the strife that he had been through the last few days, wrestling with his own thoughts and patching up the physical wounds inflicted on him by an angry public after he brutally attacked Moi University student Ivy Wangeshi last Tuesday and took her life in a bizarre fit of rage. His lawyer Mbuyu Kamau told the court that he was yet to record a statement with the police since he was discharged from hospital.
Mshukiwa apelekwe hospitali, aangaliwe kama kuna akili timamu ya kumaanisha anaweza jua ile mashtaka ambayo inamkabili.
Kinothia will now have to spend 2 more weeks in custody as police tighten up the case against him.
Suspect will be taken to hospital at Moi Teaching and Referral Hospital, that is, on the 10th day of April 2019 and the 23rd day of April 2019 for review and treatment.
The 28-year-old had earlier admitted to stalking her victim for some time. His feelings for her were, however, not reciprocated. Ivy will be buried on Saturday at their ancestral home in Mahiga, Nyeri County. Friends and family are still gathering at her home in Makongeni in Thika for daily prayers and burial preparations. Nur Abdulaziz, NTV.
A Mandera County driver who was with the 2 Cuban doctors abducted in Mandera on Friday will be detained for 15 more days to allow the anti-terrorism police unit time to complete investigations into the kidnappings.
The suspect, Isaac Ibrahim Robo, was arrested on Friday and transferred to Nairobi for further questioning. Police have been looking into data from his mobile phone and which has been subjected to a forensic analysis. The 2 doctors taken by Al-Shabaab militants were in a county government vehicle when they were ambushed.
The government says it has, in the meantime, recalled the Cuban doctors from Garissa, Wajir, Lamu and Tana River counties over safety concerns. But just how did the Al-Shabaab carry out one of the most brazen attacks in one of the most secured towns in the north? Security agencies now have some tough questions to answer, as NTV's Seth Olale explains.
The brazen daytime kidnapping of 2 Cuban doctors in Mandera streets last Friday has left many unanswered questions within security circles. Mandera town, which previously was a happy hunting ground for the Al-Shabaab, currently has a heavy security deployment from the Kenya Defense Forces to regular police officers. There are reportedly over 1,000 security officers in Mandera town and its environs drawn from 8 agencies that include the Anti-Terrorism Police Unit, Rapid Deployment Unit, Rural Border Control Unit, Administrative Police, Regular Police, and Kenya Defence Forces Long-Range Surveillance Unit, which are jointly coordinated by the National Intelligence Service and Military Intelligence. Police officers man roadblocks stationed on every access road into Mandera town, while the only operational airstrip is inside a heavily guarded military camp just a few minutes from Mandera town. In addition, part of the 400 kilometers Kenya-Somalia border in Mandera County is closed and is under 24-hour surveillance by the military. But despite all the security installations in place, armed gunmen still pulled off one of the most audacious kidnappings in the country's recent memory.
It is very, very embarrassing for the security management in our county of Mandera for this incident to have occurred, for people being driven on a probox for over 4 kilometers and deterred and intercepted.
A United Nations report on Somalia, released by the Somalia and Eritrea Monitoring Group, SEMG, in 2018, revealed how police officers at the Kenya-Somalia border let in 5 Al-Shabaab suicide bombers in February last year after receiving bribes. The report further revealed that Kenyan security forces routinely accepted cash gifts from as low as 2,000 Kenyan shillings from the militants. The report further outlines how investigation into a foiled attack in February 2018 revealed that Al-Shabaab operatives crossed the Kenya-Somalia border 5 times in 3 months, detected but not obstructed, by giving 2,000 Kenyan shillings bribes to security forces. In November 2008, 2 Italian nuns, Maria Teresa Olivero and Caterina Girodo, employed as aid workers in Elwak town, Mandera County, were abducted by suspected Al-Shabaab militants near a Kenya Defence Force operating base in Elwak. The kidnap was similar to another one in 2012 when Al-Shabaab militants abducted Burderi district officer Edward Yese Mule in a broad daylight attack at Guerrilla Administration Police Camp. The national government, in partnership with the federal government of Somalia and county government of Mandera, have recently pledged to cooperate in sharing security intelligence at a workshop hosted in Mandera town.
There is no other way of dealing with this except improving the systems of management of our common border so that these borders become bridges for positive activity that improves the prosperity of both countries.
However, there are fears that the undercurrents of the maritime border dispute between Kenya and Somalia could derail security cooperation efforts between the 2 states if not resolved amicably. The 2 Cuban doctors are still missing, today being the 4th day since the kidnapping incident occurred in Mandera town. A multi-agency has been formed and is currently conducting a rescue operation. Seth Olale, NTV, Nairobi.
In another distressing tale, 2 women are nursing head injuries at the Kiambu Level 5 hospital after they were caught up in a scuffle between boda riders and a lorry driver in Githurai Kimbo area on Saturday.
This is a case of being at the wrong place at the wrong time, as Minnie Waithera and Ann Mukami had been offered a ride in the lorry when they were caught in the middle of the violence. Police are investigating the death of 2 other people who died in the incident. NTV's Sharon Baranga reports.
At first light on Saturday, 2 friends, Minnie Waithera and Ann Mukami, called it a day after a night's work. The 2 are hawkers and needed a ride home after work. A lorry driver nearby offered to help, but it turned out to be a ride to hell. And that's how they ended up here, in hospital with physical and psychological wounds.
After a short distance, actually my niece started feeling like she wasn't comfortable. She alighted and asked the workmate, they alight and walk instead. But then I think the workmate was tired. She asked her, to come back and not leave her, they still continue with the ride. So my niece, half-heartedly, she went back to the lorry. From nowhere, they started seeing stones being thrown. Then the first stone hit the windscreen, and then my niece shouted to the driver to stop and then started asking him what was happening.
The driver of the lorry is said to have been involved in an accident with a boda rider. In a fit of rage, the lorry driver is said to have towed his bike, and this was the genesis of the conflict.
Then when they disagreed, he took the boda, put it in his lorry to punish the boda guy. But these boda, they are very good in their networking. He called the friends, then that's how they came in a multitude of 50. These guys had started beating them, kicking them anywhere, actually at random. So in the process, there were two young men also who are in the lorry who now lost their life in the process.
Minnie and Mukami are receiving treatment at the Kiambu Level 5 hospital. The driver of the lorry is admitted at Kenyatta National Hospital.
At this point, my niece cannot even see because of the beating. The head is so swollen. Right now, we are being asked to organize to take them for a CT scan tomorrow.
The attack happened just a kilometer from the Githurai Kimbo police station. Police are investigating the incident. Sharon Baranga, NTV.
He's been branded President Uhuru Kenyatta's super minister. He of the let's be honest with one another tag, having earned quite a reputation for getting the job done, despite bruising a few egos along the way, a natural consequence of his brutal honesty. And true to that nature, the Minister of Ministers did not hold back in his 40-minute interview with NTV's Dennis Okari.
Well, I asked the Interior CS, Fred Matiang'i, about his new role as chair of the Cabinet Committee for the implementation of development programs and whether he considers himself as a super minister. And this, of course, is coming on the backdrop of so many security incidents that you're having in the country. There's the border issue in Mandera, like what Seth Olale was reporting about the Cuban doctors and the safety and the contingent of police in that region being heavy, and yet this happened. There's also the discussions around the VIP protection and bodyguards, and over the weekends we were seeing politicians really talking about it.
Okay, question for you. Just tonight we've carried several stories. We've carried the update of what's happening with Naftali Kinuthia, who attacked Ivy Wangeshi, killing her. We've also carried the story of two women in Nyeri County, one of whom was stabbed in the neck, the 24-year-old woman, and she died. And then a woman, a 30-year-old woman, who was stabbed 17 times by her husband, who later turned himself into police today. Did you ask him about this increase in crimes of passion?
Well, because this falls under the police, the obvious answer was the police are still investigating these incidents, but there's a rise and an increase of these cases that are being reported at different police stations. We don't know why there's a sudden increase, but then there's an argument that they're only being realized because they're being reported. Otherwise, if these cases are not reported, we wouldn't be talking about a rise of the similar cases. But I sat down with him for around 40 minutes to just discuss a wide range of issues, from the Huduma number to armed guards and licensed gun holders. But this is a sneak peek of that interview. Quoting the president, when he was giving the State of the Nation address, he mentioned that there are plans that are underway currently to see that we have an expanded border police unit. And what are the current plans in light of that? And also looking at the current situation that we're facing, the recent abduction of Cuban doctors, in the general term of border patrol and border security.
So much has happened following that, and a lot is going on. But the critical, to answer your question directly, is to intensify our border patrol and reorient and redefine the role of the specialized formed units, in addition to what used to be called in the past the Administration Police Service, or what is called the Administration Police Service. And we take a new approach to border management so that we have more of our resources spent on the management of our border areas, especially where we have certain security challenges, like the border between us and Somalia, the border between us and South Sudan, and so on. And this deployment has been going on. A lot of good work has happened. Our colleagues across the agencies And as you know, the President's focus has been ensuring that we develop a multi-agency approach in providing security. So we work together with the other agencies. The police are working with colleagues from the other security sector agencies. And I can tell you for a fact that despite the challenges, which are fewer and far in between, our country is safe, and our borders are very well taken care of. And of course, we have right now an intense operation going on. Every effort is being made to locate and rescue the Cuban doctors. But that doesn't mean that there is any serious insecurity to worry about. Our country remains safe, and I would like to take the opportunity now I have to assure all Kenyans that our country is safe, to assure all our investors and visitors that our country is safe.
The super minister sitting down there with the super investigative editor, Dennis Okari. I definitely can't wait to watch the whole of that interview, and I'm sure neither can you. The hashtag is Matiang'i Speaks, and we'll be back with more after this break.
We get down to business a little earlier tonight. Welcome to the program. I am Julian Amboko. The pinch of the ongoing drought has started being felt in tea factories in Kericho, with production drastically declining, resulting to over 40,000 factory workers being forced to take advance leave. Kenya Tea Growers Association says the harsh climatic conditions, reported to be one of the worst experienced in the country, has forced factories to operate 3 to 4 days a week, significantly cutting down on operations. Lillian Kiari with more on that story.
The dire situation of drought in the country has leaked to the tea sector, with operations scaling down in Kericho, rendering workers, particularly those engaging in garden and plucking activities, jobless. According to the Kenya Tea Growers Association, the current extended drought from October 2018 to date is the longest and worst ever, and has caused the tea bushes to wither and even dry up completely. Farmers say the climate has seen them record dwindling returns.
Pua kapotea, sasa tujua na waka, sasa inatuna kilo kidogo sana, sina tegemea tu hapa tu, njaa tufu.
The Tea Growers Association says that it will take another 6 to 8 weeks for the crops to recover if the rains come, and additional cost of replanting and infilling the fields for the dried up bushes. This implies that the industry performance for the year 2019 will depreciate.
Hawapati kilo, anachuna kilo 2 kwa siku, kilo 3 kwa siku, hawezi tosha kulipa fees, hawezi tosha watoto ya chakula.
Earlier in the year, Kenya Tea Development Agency warned farmers of low earnings this year following a decline of 17% in price of the beverage in the first half of 2018 to 2019. Further, the Tea Directorate is forecasting that the volumes will this year drop to 416 million kilos from a high of 474 million kilos, which were realized last year. Lillian Kiarie, NTV.
They say Mother Nature knows no sacred cows. Clearly, the tea sector is taking a beating. Elsewhere, the government's plan to slash the age limit of imported cars from 8 to 5 years starting July this year is at the center of the growing battle between global car makers and car importers. According to the car importers, the proposal targeting motor vehicles with an engine capacity of 1,600 cc and above is being pushed by globally competitive automotive assemblers looking to set up in Kenya.
On the last day of public review of the draft Kenya Standard Code of Practice for inspection of road vehicles, car importers stormed the office of Acting Kenya Bureau of Standards Managing Director Bernard Nguyo, who they accused of refusing to receive their petition.
Even if you don't call.
But after a few minutes of altercations with police officers, the acting managing director would emerge and receive the petition. In it, importers said the plan to slash the age limit for imported cars would hurt the economy.
The draft has been very vocal in telling us what it is promising. But the draft has not told us what these local traders have already delivered on the table right now.
Yes.
The draft does not talk about how much tax we are contributing to the economy. So what we have been advised by foreigners is, release these jobs that you already have, which are over 2 million. We give you 12,000 jobs. And we are saying it doesn't make economic sense.
The traders say that the proposal, which is intended to create jobs in the local car industry sector that currently produces about 5,000 vehicles per annum, will punish a majority of buyers and second-hand car dealers and only benefit a few new vehicle assemblers and dealers.
We cannot be able to purchase a new car. And that is what they must understand. In Europe, currently, vehicles are not being bought, new ones. Now they are looking for a market, and they have found a market in Africa. They say the market is in Africa. So they must urge governments to accept that they must not import used vehicles.
With only 2 months before the national automotive policy comes into effect, the government and the car importers remain sharply divided on the implementation of the policy, whose adoption or rejection will determine the future of the country's automotive industry. Victor Kiprop, NTV Business, Nairobi.
Onto the capital markets, and shareholders of cement manufacturer Bamburi are set to book in a 28% rise in dividends for the full year 2018 than they did the year earlier. Even as the company's profits comes and the company's board has the company's board has proposed a 5 per share full year dividends for 2018 up in 2017.
Profit warning is January 2019 was not preparing investors during the release of the results for the 12 months 2018. Bamburi Cement's net earnings fell by 69%, and 14 million, registering the company's lowest performance in over a decade. This performance came against an rise in operating prices, which has largely been attributed to higher energy prices. The rise in costs far outweighed the rebound in which turnover growth, which is supposed to be achieving 7 billion shillings in 2018, again compared to 2017. The proposed dividend comes as a relief to Bamburi Cement shareholders who lost 2.7 billion shillings in stock wealth since the start of 2019. As the company's price at the Nairobi Stock Exchange has dropped by 5.6% straight to close Monday straight with 125 shillings. The company is now betting on business environment in 2019 to reverse its fortunes.
And Harambee Sacco